Hello, welcome to Heroes for Sale, and we've reached what feels like a milestone anyway of our 10th episode. And amongst other things today, we're going to be talking about the N.W.A film, Straight Outta Compton, and zombies. But first, we're going to go to a videotape of a report that we just did on Bold Street of young cosplay artist Gabby Monet and what she gets up to on quiet nights out.
And now for my next number, I'd like to return to the classics.
So we've come to the streets of Liverpool today to catch up with Gabby Monet, one of our hometown cosplay girls. Hiya, Gabby. And you've come as the lovely
Maleficent from the Disney film Maleficent.
It's a fantastic costume. How long did it take you to put this together?
The dress itself took about a week to do, and like my staff took maybe like about a day, a good day, and the horns took 2 days.
But the staff is really intricate. I mean, just talk us through the process of how you put that together.
Sadly, like the twig it was on has shrunk a little bit, but it's mod rock, acrylic paint, glitter glue, because everything has to be glittery, and it's actually got a light. It's still a bit naff looking, but it's a light. It's a torch with more mod rock and things on top, and it switches on, but you probably can't see it
Because it's daylight.
Yeah, and that's like my beautiful magic staff.
Today we talked about coming in and into town, and you're like, yeah, come to Bold Street. I come out all the time in costume, which is true, right?
Pretty much, yeah. As I was saying earlier, the last 4 times that I've been in town, 3 of them have been in cosplay. So it's just the norm for me, really, this.
And what kind of reactions do you get from people in town just out and about?
Yeah, well, usually there's a lot of like kind of really kind of positive and like lovely kind of comments, like people like, oh, you know, it looks really cool and things, but you always get one drunk guy who like shouts something really inaudible, but usually it's a nice comment, but it's like a drunken slur, and that gets shouted, but that's never really anything to be like stressed about. But usually like you get little kids and they come up to you and they're like, oh.
Okay, Gabby, it's been lovely speaking to you and following around Liverpool and seeing people's reactions to your fantastic costume. And I think you're going to come on the show, aren't you, and give us your guide to a cosplay costume from scratch.
Yep, I will be helping you guys sort of learn how to use sewing machines and other techniques to make your own cosplays that you can incorporate and use.
Brilliant. And people can find you on social media, can they? You've got your own Facebook page.
Yep, I have an Instagram and also a Facebook page.
Gabby Monet, right?
Yep, Gabby Monet.
Okay, thanks, Gabby, and we'll see you soon. Okay, so that was Gabby, and now you can see what she gets up to once she's made what she's done in her bedroom and takes it out on the street. And we're joined in the studio today by 2 other performers from the different ends of the spectrum. Which spectrum that is, I can leave it up to you to imagine. But we've got the incomparable Jonny Bongo.
I don't know what that word means.
Look that one up later in the dictionary, all right?
Is it good or bad?
It's good,
Right,
I think
okay,
it's good.
cool.
And we've got Paul Doyle from Movema. Thanks very much for joining me today, guys.
You're welcome.
Thanks, mate. Like your bedroom, it's nice.
Yeah, it's good, isn't it?
Yeah, it's cosy.
Yeah, you can stay if you like. And but Jonny, you've been presenting the pub quiz now, which has become a bit of a Liverpool institution for quite a few years.
I've been doing the pub quiz for, it's probably coming up now to its 5th year next month. And then through that, I've started working with Juice FM, so I've been presenting on there.
And you've just come back from a trip to Orlando, you were telling me before, which sounds very swift.
They sent me away for a competition. People could win a holiday to Orlando, so they sent me to test run it.
Most people get sent to Coventry, you got sent to Orlando.
Yeah, it was a lucky one. Like,
Downtown Disney and all that.
Unbelievable. Yeah, it was so good.
And the other good thing I'm hearing about is Bongo's Bingo at Camp and Furnace.
It is.
I've seen some photos, it seems to be just going off completely.
Paul, have you been?
No, I've not been.
Why?
But you know, to be honest, I've not really been to Camp and Furnace a lot. It's just kind of the end of the town where I wouldn't go to. So
do you know what? It's just
Well,
really really taken off.
Like, bingo is something that you wouldn't normally associate with fun and that kind of thing, unless you were claiming your pension.
Well, it's like trying to put a slant on it. So I think with the with the pub quiz, I love going to pub quizzes, but sometimes they can be a bit stale. Sometimes they'll be a bit boring. So almost just making it like a good night out. So it was the same thing with the bingo. We just took a chance with it and thought we'll do it. So it is normal bingo, like, you know, it's not too mad. No, it's really mad, but it's like at the end of the day, it's still bingo for like as the way the quiz is still a quiz.
And so you're doing that whole kind of, you imagine these 80s guys doing, you know, two fat ladies, 88.
I've got my own I've got my own numbers, like, and different things I've been calling, like, but it's just so good. In the middle of it, there's a massive rave. So after about 4 games of bingo, all the lights go out, glow sticks are out, bit of a rave. Everyone's standing up singing Frozen. Yeah. And it's just all ages that are going, you know. So a lot of people
might. You're packing hundreds of people in down there, aren't you? Because it's a big space.
Yeah, it's been. I really didn't expect how well it's been going. You know, it's been since it started. It's been full, like pretty much every week.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Well, there's maybe something we can organise a Heroes for Sale.
And a lot of girls as well.
Oh yeah.
Girls love bingo.
They do, don't they? That's why you started.
I know you've got a fiance and stuff, but like, you know, I would say a 9 to 10 ratio of girls to guys. Like,
this is impressive.
9 to 10 ratio, is that the right thing? 9 out of 10. That's right, isn't it?
9 out of 10 ain't bad, basically. So. But today we also wanted to talk about Deadfest, which is our zombie crawl that we're organising. We've done it for the past couple of years, and last year you were our DJ in residence. And
you and me were leading the front.
Yeah, I can remember you calling some kind of like zombie, like cheerleading thing in the middle of the street and stopping traffic on Sale Street.
Yeah,
that was a bit of a mad moment.
Sort of remember that. Yeah. That was amazing.
And we had a flash mob, which was like a special dance choreography by Movema. Obviously, Paul, you're from Movema, which is Liverpool's leading world dance specialist
world
group.
Dance specialist, yeah. I've just been watching a video of Deadfest from 2 years ago, actually, Andy. You looking rather hot as a Ghostbuster, walking around with a bench inside Facts, which I was really impressed with,
Yeah, we don't often talk about that more, but we should. We should get the videos out.
Is it good?
I can send you it later, or we can crawl up in bed over there afterwards.
Yeah, definitely.
But
single bed, but whatever.
It was good enough for Morecambe and Wise. Good enough But yeah, I mean, that was something we've organised, and there wasn't really a flash mob element to it in terms of a dance. But you're also into Daredevil, aren't you? I remember you telling me.
Yeah, I am. I was really into it with the Netflix series, From the film, I thought the film was a little bit tacky when that was out, the Ben Affleck one, and then how they've stepped it up for the series, I really loved it. I loved the choreography for the fight scenes, and just like the dark element to it as well,
And the fight scenes are really epic in that, aren't they? The choreography is really strident. And so I wanted you to come on today and tell us a little bit about what you think that dance can add to an event.
For an event, like a live event like Deadfest, with your flash mob, I think it has a power to pull people who aren't actually involved in the event, passers-by. But for me, flash mobs, they're a bit of a dirty word, because sometimes I see them and I think, is this a flash mob or is it a performance outdoors? And I think when they work well, when the audience don't know that it's happening, they've got a really good power to pull people in and to make an event exciting.
Trying too hard to make something special stand out. And that's, again, where I imagine the practice and the choreography beforehand makes it something special.
Yeah, and I think as well, we've seen lots of amazing flash mobs, like T-Mobile did a really amazing advert, and you've seen them in films like Friends with Benefits, and obviously they've got massive production and massive budgets to do that. And then the reality of it is when you see a flash mob on the corner of Church Street that's been done by a local group, and there's 20 people in it, it's not as exciting. But yeah, I do think that there is a power behind flash mobs there. Yeah.
Well, everything, it's like a random happening, isn't it? Which is, obviously, most of the things that you do almost have that kind of happening effect, don't they? It's happening down at Bongo's Bingo. But last year we did Thriller, and I think we've got to do something a little bit different this year, because that can get overplayed, can't it, the whole Michael Jackson Halloween.
It was good, but everyone, there was like people that sort of just joined in, just random people.
It was that was in front of Fact, and we pulled in a couple of old grannies.
But you can't do Thriller twice.
No.
Do something else.
There's not really much choice in the Halloween music genre. You've kind of got Monster Mash, maybe a little bit of Rocky Horror, but there's not
Rocky
many
Horror
other.
Could be a good one, because it's about the costumes as well. That's what we want to do. We don't just want to do.
Isn't it?
You'd look nice in fishnets.
Here we go. It's good. I can do that. I'll pull that off. I'm lost for words now. Please, someone help. The Rocky Horror. That's the whole time warp jump to the left. But it's all about the costumes, is what I was going to say, because we don't just want random zombies. We want people to get dressed up in weird and wonderful things, which is where the Ghostbusters element came from. And last year...
Was there a Nazi zombie?
There was a Nazi zombie.
But like...
Really over the top.
Like literally, that was like he'd found that Nazi uniform. It wasn't like something he'd made himself.
I think he had made it himself.
I don't know.
Well, he'd obviously bought it. It looked like it was the real deal.
Bought it off like dodgy eBay or something like that. Yeah.
It wasn't quite Hugo Boss, was it? But,
no, it was
but he came in with this girl in like... almost like a gimp scenario where she was on
he
a
was chained to
chain.
her.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were a bit saucy, them two, like.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to put some. I know we'll cut to some clips, and we'll show also what happened last year and some of the pictures. But this year we're thinking, because we got the Heroes for Sale thing, we'll do like a bit of a superhero
themed
zombie
flash mob.
apocalypse flash mob.
Superheroes
Superhero
saving the day.
zombies are good. I don't think I've ever seen that been done before.
Yeah.
Superman
Superheroes.
versus zombie apocalypse.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like a zombie
Like a
Spider-Man,
Catwoman,
a
like
zombie.
Catwoman's zombie.
Yeah.
Possibilities
On her
are
last life.
endless, yeah. On her last life. That's good, that.
Yeah, and we can eat some vodka jelly, that kind of thing, in brains. Why not? That's what I say. So you're up for DJing again?
I will DJ, of course.
Yeah, if we get the right
Just
party
need to
going.
pick my superhero.
Yeah.
It might go Ant-Man,
Yeah.
but as a zombie.
Yeah, and then also we can then bring you back to life in the after party last year, which was really
It got messy.
yeah, it
was
did get
good.
messy. I remember it was somebody. Didn't we have a stag do popped along as well?
I think so. There was a bunch of rowdy characters, but in a good way. Not like a mob, like a good flash mob.
Yeah, it was a good vibe.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for coming on and sharing your
Brilliant.
recollections for that.
Thanks for
And
inviting
Paul,
me.
yeah, thanks for coming on and telling us how we need to get our choreography right, and that I'll look good in fishnets. The challenge has been set now.
Do you want me to just wait over in your bed then
Yeah,
until you're
please.
finished?
Yeah, please do. Second half of the show won't take as long as this.
Netflix and chill, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so please do join us after the break. We'll be talking about all kinds of stuff. And also we must point out that you can go on to purplerevolver.com and check out more information about Deadfest and how you can get involved. Hello, welcome back to Heroes for Sale. It's the part of the show that we call Between the Panels because we like to go this way and that way and leave the things in between up to your own imagination. But this week we have mostly been watching the N.W.A. film. Some of us on purpose and some of us by accident. I'm joined by Abe and Jen. And Jen, you've got quite a funny story, didn't you? You went to see Straight Outta Compton, but you were expecting something else.
Well, I went to see Mission Impossible, sitting there looking forward to it. Tom Cruise, I like him. And then I was thinking it's getting really busy in here. And then it turns out we'd gone into the wrong room and we were going to watch Straight Outta Compton. It was an accident, but I did enjoy it when I watched it. It's not something that I'm really into, so I apologise to anyone who knows about hip-hop because I don't know
So
anything
you're not a
about
hip-hop
it.
fan? Because we're hip-hop fans here on Heroes for
I'll
Sale.
listen to it and I'll like bits and I'll think, oh, yeah, that's good. But I don't know the ins and outs. It's like someone who doesn't know about comics trying to talk to me about comic books and I just look at them and just don't like them. Yeah, I don't want people to think that way about me when I'm talking about hip-hop because I don't actually know anything about it.
Well, what was your feeling about it? Because as a biopic goes, biopics can be quite hard to nail, can't they? Because you've got to completely let go of everything that you've taken before about the artist, what you know. I mean, I loved Ray with Jamie Foxx, and that won him an Oscar, didn't it?
Yeah.
And I think there was the same kind of level of getting things right with this. Obviously, what did you think, though?
I think there's a fine line with that type of film because you don't want it to be like an after-school special where, you know, it's telling you this and it's telling you that and it's a bit preachy. But at the same time, you want it to get the story across. I felt at times it wasn't telling the whole story. I mean, there's a bit where they're in a hotel and the next minute they've got a gun in the hotel and I was thinking, how did they get a gun? And I know in America it's quite easy to get guns, but I was thinking it's a bit random that they've just suddenly got a gun.
Some people might say it's quite easy to get guns at Liverpool.
Yeah.
If you know the right people.
But they're like trying to put across, I think they were trying to put across a lot more angelic than what they actually were. That's what I got from the film.
I don't think they could have put it in the movie, half the stuff that they
Yeah,
got up
exactly,
to. So.
yeah. And I know that since I've watched it and I've read up on it, a lot of people have filed lawsuits against them, like their manager Jerry, who was their manager in the beginning. He wasn't happy when he saw the film and a few other people. So I think they've kind of had to toe the line with the movie about what they were saying about various
It's a
people.
bit like the Beatles, isn't it? Everybody ended up suing everybody,
Yeah,
which is kind of what was happening in
yeah.
the film anyway. But you really enjoyed it, didn't you, Abe?
Yeah, I loved
As a
it.
hip-hop fan, it took you back to those days.
It just, like, after the film finished, I went on my Spotify and downloaded all the old stuff and have been listening to it since. You know, it's just a blast from the past, really. And I think the best part of the film was that Ice Cube's son looks exactly like him.
Yeah.
So it felt like,
he looks more like Ice Cube than Ice Cube himself.
Yeah.
Because I was sitting there thinking, he doesn't half look like Ice Cube, so that's why.
Yeah.
And it was just a good film, like from start to finish. You know, it wasn't slow, and there's no points where you sat there thinking, I wish something had flip and pick up speed a little bit. You know, it got into the nitty gritty details, especially when they're showing you what was going on at the record places and going on behind the scenes. It was kind of cool because you don't know really. Well, I've never been involved in music, so I don't know what goes on in those type of places. But I think one of my favourite parts is when you go into Death Row Records, and you see all the things that are going on there.
Wild things with Suge Knight, but also the scene where they're listening to No Vaseline for the first time, which is Ice Cube's diss record to N.W.A. That was a special moment.
That was brilliant.
And you're watching him kind of listening to all these battle raps.
Just watching like the girls in the background giggling at them, and Eazy-E's just getting more and more wound up. And then Jerry obviously starts flipping out and calling him anti-Semitic and this and that. But I think Jerry sort of didn't get it. It's not about your race, your religion. It's just about, you know, going at you and making you look bad, really, I suppose. Yeah.
And ultimately, it was just a cracking film. I think they're already talking about making a second one. So when Mission Impossible 4 comes out, is that something you might go and see Death Row Records?
Suge Knight, the guy who played him, I thought he was amazing. He just had crazy in his eyes, didn't he? And he was fantastic. Yeah. And I really felt sorry for Jerry. You know, he did do bad things like with contracts and stuff, but I did feel sorry for him in the end.
That was the power of the acting again. Yeah. That guy, Paul Guy, I don't know how
he just played the character very sorry, didn't he? Like you felt bad for, even though he was doing all these wrong things, you felt sorry for him.
Yeah, so that's praise indeed. Then, if you watched the film and you didn't know you were watching it,
I think it's good if you're not a fan. It's something that you can still go and watch and you can still enjoy and get into.
So there you go, worth a watch. Yeah. And then hip hop and comics, you wonder, do the two go together? For me, they do. They're both art forms born out of New York, really, that live and breathe, and they're very visual. Even though it's like, you know, a rap record, the paintings that the pictures they paint on your mind are always very visceral. And we've also got Hip Hop Family Tree, which you've both read, which we'll lift up for the cameras now, which is it's just freshly come out, and it kind of tells the story of many of hip hop's. It's like origin stories, isn't it? Yeah. For your hip hop heroes.
I think the artwork's fantastic in it. You know, it takes you back to that time. You know, this one's from the 1970s to 81. It just really reminds you of what's been going on and what's happened in that time frame.
It's a brilliant book. The way they've done it, the actual paper they've printed it on is reminiscent of those kind of newsprint 70s comics from that era. And you actually downloaded one to read. Which story did you read?
I downloaded the whole thing, the whole graphic novel, and I read that. And again, not a fan of hip hop, but it was quite interesting because I didn't realise that Blondie was so influenced by hip hop.
Yeah, Fab Five, Freddy and all that.
Yeah, and Rapture. That was like one of the first raps on radio or something like that, someone was saying earlier, which I didn't know that. And also, it's just interesting again, the way you were saying, the behind the scenes. Some of the groups, you just got swindles, and it's in that graphic novel saying about it.
Going back to what we're saying in the film, they're just young men. You know, you could see there was only really Ice Cube who was twigged that something wasn't right and he wasn't getting his fair share, do you know what I mean? Yeah. So it's really the story of everybody starting off from a place and they just want to get somewhere and they want to make it, don't they?
It's a new art form, isn't it? And whenever anybody finds something new, there's always some kind of vultures circling above trying to make some money out of it. And I think you could see that particularly with the story of hip-hop and the end of the disco era. And there's lots of people stuck in that kind of disco era, which itself was born out of the funk era. You know, it was the black art form of funk, which was then appropriated by New York white guys who turned it into disco. And the same kind of thing happened with, and you can see that in the film, can't you, with the guy who so Dre and Yella are DJing for.
Yeah,
they're trying to get him to play, trying to get him to play the slow jam.
Yeah. Which I quite like that type of music. It's quite nice. But it's the same with the Hip Hop Family Tree, the way it's going into the detail of everything, and it's just really interesting to read. I mean, I'm not a fan. I'm a comic book fan, but it was good and it's insightful.
Yeah. It's again, like I say, the artwork's brilliant. The pacing of it, it's all in those kind of traditional 6 or 9 panels. Obviously, you get a few kind of splash pages here and there, a few big images, but that also helps. I think the pacing of it is pretty good. I've read the kind of Grandmaster Flash story and the block parties, and it really does get you in the sweet spot if you're a hip hop fan. So you've been getting a special kind of knowledge of street knowledge, basically.
Yeah.
You've become a bit of a hip hop head. Have we converted you after you come on last week?
Yeah, I mean, it's not something I would go out and buy myself, but if it's there, I'll read it, and it's informative. And I would recommend it to people who are in hip hop, even if you weren't into comics and you liked hip hop. I think it's something that you should.
Because you get that again origin story, aren't
Yeah,
you? How
yeah.
your heroes came to be. And while we're still on the topic of comics, though, we want to talk to you. You were saying before you were murmuring bad things against Marvel, really.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
I'm just getting bored of the whole Secret Wars thing. The actual Secret Wars comic, I'm fine with. It's all the Battle World stuff. I just want my normal comics back now, and I just want to get back to reading about the X-Men in the X-Mansion, doing X-Men stuff, instead of, Kitty Pryde's off with Star-Lord over there and someone else is doing something else. It's just getting a bit much.
I mean, there's a lot of stories going on. You've got to be
It's-
invested in them to make
Yeah.
it work. But I think there's a lot of special things to pick up there.
I think when Marvel do that, or even DC do it, they sort of, at the moment, it seems like they try to milk everything for all it's worth and drag it out as far as they can. Remember when there's so many times they've done stuff like that where they've just sort of taken it too far and done it for like a year or 2 years, and it's just dragged out.
Yeah.
It just loses,
I think it could be, but the flip side of that, I know a couple of my mates are really into it, and they're loving the way it's been carefully crafted, and it's been and breathing new life into stories such as Spider Island or Planet Hulk is a good one people are enjoying. But we don't often talk about DC on the programme. You've been saying that you love DC.
DC at the moment, since Convergence, when they had the crossover, I think it's putting out some of the best comics in the industry. And it's a shame, because I think the fact that various characters have changed, like you've got Commissioner Gordon is now Batman, Superman's been depowered and his outfit has been changed, he can't put a suit on. You've got a lot of people that aren't necessarily reading because of these small little things, but I've read Superman since I was about 5, and I can honestly say in the past 15 years, that's probably the best storytelling that I've read in a Superman comic, what's currently happening. But
they get accused, don't they, sometimes of being too serious or being a bit too boring. That's what I hear a lot of people saying, DC are bore bags. But I think it's also the movies at the moment which are really catapulting Marvel to this kind of venerated position. But DC have always been able to tell a story really well as well.
Yeah.
But the last thing we want to talk about today is more Marvel stuff, which is Deadpool v Thanos. And of course, because he's the man of the moment, and again, we've talked about that last week, didn't we? How you kind of a little bit bored with Deadpool, but you've read it, haven't you? And after not reading something for a while.
I haven't read comics for at least a good 2 years, and I was talking to you the day, you told me to pick it up and have a look at it, and just loved it. It was just classic Deadpool, just the way he is, the way he's portrayed as this big giant goofball who's trying to make everybody think he's fantastic, and it really ends up turning into like a story where he's lost his lover really now, and he has to fight back to get her.
Yeah, his mistress Death, and it's his quest to kind of get back Death. And there's a great little line. There's lots of little lines from Deadpool. Which I think the great thing about Marvel is they don't take themselves seriously the way as DC is. And I'm welcome to people coming on here and telling me that I'm wrong, but they don't take themselves seriously. And Deadpool's almost like the personification of that. And at one point in it, there's a great joke, isn't there, about how Thanos can't touch me. In case you don't know who I am, I'm the Merc with the mouth, and I'm outselling Superman by millions of comics a week. We've got to wrap things up shortly, but would you like to tell us how we could be wrong about
it's a low blow. It's a low blow off
low blow
Deadpool.
for
Low blow.
Well, we'll have to come back and talk about that more time. But thanks very much, Jen, for joining me, and Abe also. Cheers. And thank you at home. Please do come back. We'll be back with more Heroes for Sale soon.